Hey, it's great to hear that sound again. It is great to be back, folks. I'm back from the week hiatus. I was gone, and I missed a lot. I left on Saturday to go to Michigan, and I called my mom around 10 p.m. to see what happened to the game because I was confused. I didn't know what happened. I had no internet connection, and I didn't know what happened to the game. So my mom at first says, well, Klaus got the first hat trick in city history. And I was like, oh my goodness, what? This is crazy, right? But I then realized it was a 3-3 draw and that they were on the brink of losing to the worst team in the league, the LA Galaxy, just yesterday. Or not yesterday, last week. I'm tired. That's all right, though. So I'm back. Pardon. I'm glad to be back. It'll be me for a while. Then Mo will join in at a certain point. But I'm excited. I'm very excited because I am back and I get to talk to you guys for an hour and a half about soccer. Good evening. How's it going, man? It's great to have y'all back. Let's go over the game real quick. So, of course, everyone knows the final 3-3 draw. Klaus with the first hat trick in city history. But let's talk about what happened first. So, start of the match, I saw the first 30 minutes live. I did not see anything after that. I thought that out of that 30 minutes I saw on the bus going to Camp Minnewanka with the National Leadership Conference, it was amazing. It was a great week experience. It has been hot. It has been very hot. I think today during the Cardinals game that they won 8-2, by the way, versus the Cubs. Yeah, Cubs, Cardinals. Hey. But they said that it felt like 103 tonight in St. Louis. But what we saw in the first 30 minutes is what I saw in the first 30 minutes was that the offensive pressure was great. The counterattacks they had were amazing, but it felt like the back line was almost inviting the LA Galaxy to come in and say, go ahead, have chances, go for it, right? And that's just not what we need to do against a team that still has those offensive weapons that they showed. You know, Klaus gets that first goal in the 35th minute. Then the LA Galaxy respond. Gabriel Peck in the 41st. After halftime, Shao Klaus says, I'm going to go ahead and get another. He scores in the 47th minute. And then quickly after that, Matthias Nascimento scored in the 51st minute for LA. And then in the 87th minute, Gabriel Peck gets another. A minute before the game ends, Shao Klaus in the 95th minute, or 90th plus 5 in extra time, or an added time, he scores and gets his team point. 2.2 expected goals for St. Louis City, 2.73 for LA Galaxy. Let's talk about the starting lineup. We'll take a look at it real quick. Yeah, Jay Reed on that left side in the back. Timu Baumgartel. You had Kyle Hebert, Tomas Toland, Akil Watts, Simon Betcher, Alfredo Morales, Celio Pompeu, Shao Klaus, and Marcel Hartel. The subs that came in were Conrad Valum, who came in the 46th minute and then subsequently left in the 66th with an apparent injury. Joseph Zielinski came in the 61st for Tomas Toland. Cedric Toyshirt came on in the 61st for Simon Betcher. Jake Girdwood-Reich came on for the injured Conrad Valum, who, of course, came on for Alfredo Morales after half. And then in the 90th minute, Jande Silva came in for Kyle Hebert, trying to get that offensive spark. Players that were on the bench but did not play. Benjamin Lunt, of course, you wouldn't expect him to play at all, with him being the backup keeper, with Berkey having no injuries or anything like that. Giannis Horn did not play. It was announced earlier in the week that he will not return to the team. He will go back to his parent club on the 30th of June, which is just in a week now. A week from today, he will be in Austria, I believe. So they did not play him. I mean, they don't expect to play him because of trying to keep his health in good shape, right? And then Joshua Yarrow and Tomas Ostrak were not used. Players that are still injured: Christopher Durkin, Edu Leuven, Henry Kessler, Joachim Nilsson, and Rasmus Alm, all still out. Different timetables for all of them. But as we've seen from some people so far, you may need them because the lowest FOTMOB rating of the game, he had your left back, Jay Reed, with a 5.2 FOTMOB rating. He was the most accurate passer, but he did make an error that led to a LA goal earlier in the game. His passing was 96%. Just not what you wanted to do in that situation. Just a lackluster performance from Jay. And you look at Kyle Hebert also, 95% passing. Only 4 defensive actions, only 3 clearances. Look at Tomas Totland on the right side, 81% passing, not great. And then 3 defensive actions. I mean, you're just talking about your midfield being not equipped for defensive play. Alfredo Morales being dribble passed once and making 0 defensive actions the whole game when you're expecting him to be your 6 maybe, or expecting Alfredo Morales to be your guy that's more defensive midfielder, or Akil Watts. He was dribble passed twice, made 6 defensive actions. But again, you're talking about guys just continuously getting dribble passed. And Simon Betcher, you don't expect him to make so many defensive actions. He made 1, which is more than Alfredo Morales. But he had an expected goals of 1.1. Most people thought he should have scored. He almost did score. And you look at the upper half, you have Steli Pompeu with a 7.8 rating, Shao Klaus with a 9.7, and Marcel Hartel with a 8.1. Pardon me. I may be coughing a bit. I am a little sick still. I might have caught something in Michigan. But with all that said, table sits, as said, in the Western Conference. Number 1, Vancouver Whitecaps with 35 points. Number 2, San Diego FC with 33 points. Number 3, Minnesota United with 30 points. Number 4, Portland Timbers with 30 points. Number 5, LAFC with 26 points. Number 6, Seattle Sounders with 26 points. Number 7, Austin FC with 26 points. Number 8, San Jose Quakes with 23 points. Number 9, the Colorado Rapids with 22 points. Number 10, FC Dallas with 21 points. Number 11, Houston Dynamo with 20 points. Number 12, Real Salt Lake with 18 points. Number 13, Sporting Kansas City with 16 points. Number 14, St. Louis City SC with 15 points, and dead last in the Western Conference with 15 points is the LA Galaxy. With 8 points is the LA Galaxy. Sitting second to last in the West, and then the 4th worst team in the league right now, St. Louis. They would need to turn it around. Let's take a look into the next match. Orlando City SC, the other City SC in the league. Currently 5th place in the East. They have a plus 10 goal differential. They're 8-6-4. They've scored 32 goals and only allowed 22. Their last 5 right now, they are 1-2-2. So pretty lackluster recently. On the road, they're a little bit worse. They're 3-4-2. They're not a possession team. They're 25th in possession. They rank 6th in open play expected goals, so they're very good at converting in open play. They're tied for 5th in goals scored. They're tied for 10th in goals allowed. They're tied for 6th in passes through the penalty area, and they're tied for 2nd in through balls. You also have 3 players with 9+ goal contributions. You have Martin Ojeda with 10 goals. You have Marco Pulisic with 6 goals, and you have Luis Morel with 6 goals. And goalkeeper Pedro Galisi has 8 clean sheets. Expected to miss this game for Orlando. Alex Freeman, he is on the U.S. men's national team for the Gold Cup. And Duncan McGuire, he had shoulder surgery on June 6th. Duncan McGuire, of course, the striker, 24-year-old from the U.S. He expected to return in early to late or mid to late July for Orlando. But you're going to see a little bit different for them. You also have Rodrigo Adrian Schlegel, the 20-year-old Argentinian center back, suspended for a red card in their last bout. So currently sitting, or I think it was yellow card accumulation. Pardon me, not a red card. So the way you look right now for Orlando City, they're a little bit lackluster in their last 5. But what you want right now from this City SC team, I'm talking about St. Louis City SC, the one right behind me. You need a cohesive midfield. You need a stellar defense. I mean, you're talking about the 5th best team in the league when it comes to goals scored. You need a good defense here. You're going to need a solid defense. You're going to need Timo Baumgartel to step up. You might need Henry Kessler back. I mean, some of these guys, it may seem like a long shot, but you never know if you see them play 45 on Wednesday. You also have that Saturday game away from home just 4 days after this Orlando game. I feel like that game, let me just check. I've slipped in my mind who that game is against. That Saturday game is against Houston, in Houston. That's the 20th, pardon me. Houston very banged up as well. Again, like I said, they're 11th right now in the Western Conference. And then you face Real Salt Lake. Then you come back to St. Louis to face Portland on the 13th. But what you're going to need from City, you're going to need offensive production. You're going to need these guys to step up because Shao Klaus is not going to go out there and score 3 again, right? It's impressive that he did go out there and score 3. I doubt he's going to go out there and score 3 again. So you're going to need offensive production from your other players. You're going to talk about guys like Simon Betcher. You're going to talk about guys like Marcel Hartel, like Cedric Toyshirt maybe coming back. You're going to talk about guys like Celia Pompeu. You're going to talk about Marcel Hartel. You're going to talk about even Jay Reed or Tomas Totland getting involved in that offensive production. Maybe Tomas Ostrak gets in it, right? You're going to need some guys to step up, and that's undoubtable for St. Louis right now. And if you don't get those guys to step up, then you are going to simmer in mediocrity for the rest of the season, hire a new coach in the offseason, and rinse and repeat, and hope you can maybe run it back next year with an older squad. But yeah, I mean, this team right now, they talked about how they wanted to make the playoffs after the coach switch. They still talked about how they wanted to make the playoffs. It's a long shot, but they have a very, 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 very small chance to make the playoffs right now. I mean, the chances that they make the playoffs right now is, I'm going to look right now what their playoff percentage is. 4%. Or pardon me, 7% that the City SC makes the playoffs. 7%. Not good. Not good at all, right? Not good. So, I don't know. You're at a standstill right now with City. You're talking about needing this team to step up. You need these guys to step up. You need your coach, David Critchley, to step up. You need just overall, you need this team to step up. You haven't had a clean sheet. For a team that had amazing defense at the start of the season, you haven't had a clean sheet since you played Union Omaha. And so you haven't had a clean sheet in a MLS game since you played Vancouver on April 19th. You need to just play better. It's fair. It's fair to say this defense needs to play better. It's fair to say this team needs to play better. It's fair to say that this front office needs to produce better. Of course, the win rate percentage has gone up from 13% to 33%, with Olaf Melberg being out and then David Critchley coming in. It's gotten better, but you need that uptick, right? You need that uptick. Especially with Giannis Horn leaving. You need those guys to come back. I don't know. I am not sure why Giannis Horn departed. I'm not sure why they didn't retain Giannis Horn. I'm not sure why they didn't buy his option. Giannis Horn was your best producing left back. Maybe you say you want to make room for Jay Reed, but I think it's a peculiar move in my opinion to not bring back Giannis, just because he's such a productive player, such a great locker room identity guy. Also in XG, expected goals, St. Louis City should be, according to FOTMOB, should be 8th in the standings. They should be 8th. They're 14th. So they're just not finishing. You're getting those chances. You're getting those wide open nets, and you're missing the net. You're kicking field goals when you need to kick one along the ground, right? It's just trying to get too cute with it. You're just not seeing the production you need to see, because if this team is going to win, you're going to need this production, right? You're going to need this production. It's not a question. It's not a question. You're going to need the production. And if you don't get that production, then you talk about players leaving. You talk about Roman Berkey with his contract being up after the season. Like, do you think about Roman Berkey not coming back? Imagine this team without Roman Berkey, right? They didn't win a game without Roman Berkey. With Ben Lund, they didn't win a game. They won one game, against Seattle, March 16th, the first game that Ben Lund played. They didn't win another game with Ben Lund. So I'll look at some stats, some team stats right quick. SETI is 29th in average possession. They're 27th in foul mob rating. They're 27th in goals per match. They're 19th in goals conceded per match. 13th in clean sheets. They're 19th in XG. They're 26th in accurate passes per match. They're 26th in touches in opponent box. They're 20th in corners. They're 22nd in interceptions. They're 24th in successful tackles. They're 27th in possession won in the final third per match. They're 20th in penalties conceded. They're 20th in fouls per match. They're 18th in yellow cards per match. And they are the 5th worst in red cards per match. They have had 3 red cards this season. You look at players, your best goal scorer, Shao Klaus with 5. Your best assist, it's a long list of ties. These guys all have 1 assist. Marcel Hartel, Celia Pompeu, Edward Leuven, Cedric Teuchert, Kyle Hebert, Jonas Horn, Timo Baumgartel, Thomas Ostrak, Henry Kessler. And that is your guys that have 1 assist. They're all tied. Goals plus assists, Shao Klaus. Fought mob rating, Marcel Hartel, 7.17. Goals per 90, Shao Klaus, 0.43. Expected goals, Shao Klaus, 4.6. Pardon me. Successful dribbles per 90, Jandé Silva. Biggest chances missed, Simon Betcher with 8. Penalties awarded, Simon Betcher with 1. Interceptions per 90, Timo Baumgartel with 1.3. You look at save percentage, Roman Berkey with 72.1. Fouls committed per 90. Jandé Silva's committing an average of 3 fouls per 90. Conrad Vallum has 3 yellow cards. He has 1 red. I don't know. You're going into a good team. You're going into playing a good team. It's like going to be a hot day Wednesday night. Just for comparison, let me pull this up. I have a list of stats here. Pardon me. So, look at Orlando City. I'm going to go through. Fought mob rating. Orlando City is 6th out of 30. St. Louis is 27th. In goals per match, St. Louis is 27th. Orlando City is 7th. Goals conceded per match, Orlando City is 10th. City SC is 19th. Pardon. In clean sheets, Orlando City is tied for 1st. St. Louis, 13th. Expected goals per match, 7th for Orlando. 19th for St. Louis. Shots on target per match, 9th, Orlando City. 16th, St. Louis. Big chances, Orlando City tied for 2nd. City SC, 22nd. Touches in the opponent's box, Orlando City's 5th. St. Louis City is 26th. You look at their discipline. They are the 2nd best team in the league at taking fouls. That means Orlando City takes the 2nd least amount of fouls per game at 9.8. City SC, 10th best. Successful tackles per match, Orlando City is 22nd. St. Louis City, 24th. Expected goals conceded, St. Louis City, 10th. Orlando City, 18th. And again, when you're looking at the expected goals conceded or something conceded, you're trying to be the higher number. In a reality, Orlando City is better at not letting people score. You just look at that by their numbers. Look at the table. They've scored 32. They've allowed 22. St. Louis, on the other hand, they have scored 17 and allowed 26. So you're talking about a difference of 15 goals scored and a difference of 4 goals allowed. So a difference of 19 goals. 19 goals. So I say 19 goals. I'm not talking about Orlando scored 19 more goals than City. I'm talking about Orlando's scored 15 more and allowed 4 less. So the overall goal value is 19 goals. 19 goals. That's a very, 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 very high number, right? That's 19 goals. That's more than LA's scored this season. It's more than DC United has scored this season. That's more than Real Salt Lake has scored this season. That's more than the Colorado Rapids have scored this season. That's the same amount of goals New England scored this season. It's more goals than Austin scored this season. It's more goals than St. Louis has scored all season. That's the difference in goal differential. From plus 10 to minus 9. So you're talking about a difference of 19 goals. I think that's just something to highlight there. Is their inability to kind of prevent that. You look at the top scorer for Orlando. Remember, Shao Klaus has 5. Or, 5. Martin Ojeda, 9. FOTMOB rating, top FOTMOB rating is 0.5 better. The Orlando's 0.5 better than St. Louis. Pardon me. So when you look at this, the way that Orlando's played all season, it's intimidating. It's scary. But you look at their past 5. Most recently, they won 1-0 versus Colorado. Before that, they lost 3-1 versus Chicago Fire. Before that, they lost 3-2 versus Atlanta. Before that, they won 1-0 versus Portland. And before that, they lost 3-2 to Nashville. So they lost to a brink playoff team, Chicago. They lost to a bottom-of-the-table Atlanta United. And they lost to a very good Nashville team. And they won against a very good, or against a brink playoff team, Portland Timbers, and a mediocre team in the Colorado Rapids brink playoff, if you want to say brink playoff. But it's unlikely that the Cronkies do make a splash here. You also look, Orlando's had the same coach for going on 6 years now, since 2020. That coach, of course, being Oscar Perea, or Parha. If I said that wrong, I butchered that. I guarantee I butchered that. I'm sorry. Former coach for Tijuana, former coach for FC Dallas, and former coach for Colorado. So, doesn't look great. If I had to give a prediction, I would say City SC versus City SC. With the way that City's defense, and I'm talking about St. Louis here, the way that St. Louis' defense has been producing lately, I don't find it likely that they keep them limited to less than 1 or less than 2 even. I think they probably score 2 or 3. And then, the chances are there for St. Louis. They're just not converting on them. So I'll say 3-1 Orlando is my prediction. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes, maybe less. I'm back. Let's go. All right, I'm going to take a look at some stats and scores around the MLS while I was gone. Of course, the MLS isn't the only thing that's going on right now. The Club World Cup, I'll talk about that. And the Gold Cup, I'll talk about that in a second too. But right now, scores around the league. Let's get into it. And please, if you hear me coughing or sneezing, I apologize. I am still a little bit sick. Scores around the league from when I was gone. Since I've been gone. I love, oh my gosh, what's her name? Oh my gosh, what's her name? Kelly Clarkson. I love Kelly Clarkson. All right, let's talk about some scores. Saturday, June 14th. Of course, St. Louis City draws LA Galaxy 3-3. Columbus Crew beats Vancouver Whitecaps. A surprising upset there, 2-1. FC Cincinnati beats the New England Revolution 1-0. Philadelphia Union beat Charlotte FC 2-1. Same scoreline for the Austin FC versus New York Red Bulls, 2-1 in favor of Austin. Chicago Fire are toppled 2-0 by Nashville. CF Montreal gets an upset win. It was a kind of a trash bowl, a tank bowl. I don't know what you want to call it. But it was two very bad teams in Montreal and in the Houston Dynamo. Montreal topples Houston 3-1. San Diego FC gets a 4-2 win over Minnesota United. Sporting KC loses 4-2 versus FC Dallas. You love to see it. Pardon me. Orlando City, of course, just spoke on it. 1-0 win over Colorado. Pardon me. And then Real Salt Lake, 2-0 win over DC United. So, that's it for the MLS. So about the Club World Cup. Games going on right now. Al Ahly SC versus FC Porto, 4-3 in favor of Al Ahly SC in the 72nd minute. You look at it's at MetLife Stadium. Inter Miami leads. Palmeiras 2-0. Scores from Allende and Suarez. Right there in that game. That's at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And that's in the 77th minute. The games that I missed include Almost all of them. Inter Miami draws Al-Ahly SC 0-0. Bayern Munich. This is the craziest soccer scoreline I've ever seen in my life. 10-0 versus Auckland City FC. 10-0. 10-0. 10-0 Bayern Munich win. That's crazy. That's just outrageous. Paris Saint-Germain beats Atletico Madrid 4-0. Palmeiras and FC Porto draw 0-0. Botafogo RJ topples Seattle Sounders 2-1. Chelsea beats LAFC 2-0. Boca Juniors tie Benfica 2-2. Flamengo and Esperance fought or played Monday, June 16th. Flamengo with a 2-0 win. Borussia Dortmund, Roman Bürki's former team. That was on Tuesday. They drew 0-0 against Fluminense. River Plate 1-3-1 versus the Urawa Red Diamonds. Ulsan HDFC loses 1-0 against Mamelodi Sundowns FC. Monterrey ties 1-1 with Inter Milan. Wednesday, we'll move on. Manchester City 2-0 versus Wydad Casablanca. Real Madrid ties 1-1 versus Al Hilal. Pachuca, I think I'm saying that right. Pachuca loses 1-2 versus Salzburg. Al Ain loses 5-0 versus Juventus. Move on to Thursday, June 19th. Palmeiras wins 2-0 versus Al-Ahly SC. Inter Miami 2-1 win over FC Porto. Seattle Sounders lose 3-1 versus Atletico Madrid. PSG loses 1-0 versus Botafogo RJ. Benfica 6-0 win over Auckland City FC. So they've lost 6-0. They've lost 10-0. Wow, I would not want to be a fan of them right now. Flamengo 3-1 win versus Chelsea. Esperance 1-0 win versus LAFC. Bayern Munich wins 2-1 versus Boca Juniors. And then today, or pardon me, not today, Saturday, Mamelodi Sundowns FC loses 4-3 versus Borussia Dortmund. Inter Milan 2-1 win versus Urawa Red Diamonds. Fluminense 4-2 win over Ulsan HDFC, and River Plate in Monterrey draw 0-0. Juventus versus Wydad Casablanca ends in a 4-1 win for Juventus. Real Madrid 3. Pardon me. Pachuca 1. Salzburg 0. Al Hilal 0. Man City 6. Al Ain 0. Atletico Madrid today won 1-0 versus Botafogo RJ. Seattle Sounders lost 2-0 versus Paris Saint-Germain. And I just said those scores earlier of the games going on right now. That's the FIFA Club World Cup. Let's look at the Gold Cup scores. The CONCACAF Gold Cup. What is it? What is it for? I have no clue. So the day I left Mexico, 3-2 win over the Dominican Republic. Sunday, June 15th, USA 5-0 win versus Trinidad and Tobago. Saudi Arabia 1-0 versus Haiti. Costa Rica 4-3 win versus Suriname. Monday, June 16th, Panama 5-2 win over Guadalupe. Jamaica loses 1-0 versus Guatemala. Curacao versus El Salvador, 0-0 draw. Canada wins 6-0 over Honduras. Costa Rica 2-1 over the Dominican Republic. Mexico 2-0 over Suriname. Pardon me if I said it wrong. Trinidad and Tobago and Haiti, they draw 1-1. USA 1-0 over Saudi Arabia. Move on to Friday, June 20th. Jamaica 2-1 over Guadalupe. And Panama 1-0 over Guatemala. Saturday, June 21st, the day I got back. 1-1. Curacao and Canada draw. Honduras beats El Salvador 2-0. Yesterday, Saudi Arabia and Trinidad and Tobago 1-1 draw. USA beat Haiti 2-1. The Dominican Republic and Suriname or Suriname. I don't know. I'm not sure how to say it. I apologize. They drew 0-0, and Mexico and Costa Rica drew 0-0. Right now, you look at the table. Group A, if it were to end today, Mexico and Costa Rica would go through. Group B, Canada and Honduras sit at the top of that one. Group C, Panama and Jamaica sit on top. And Group D, USA and Saudi Arabia sit on top. So we'll move on to the knockout round. June 29th. Actually, it'll be kicked off on June 28th. It'll be Mexico versus Saudi Arabia and USA versus Costa Rica in the quarterfinals. So, those are some scores from around the league, around the country, around the world recently. Oof. We're getting through it. We're good. Real quick, guys, just wanted to say this. 36 minutes in. You're not going to get your usual long podcast tonight. No Oscar tonight. No Jeremy. Something came up family related. And Mo would be here later. I'm about 2 seconds from losing my voice. I think what we're going to do, we'll keep you updated. But this will be it for me tonight. I probably need to get some rest. Still probably a little bit under the weather for my trip. Not feeling amazing. But tried to stick it out for you guys. Got about 30 minutes in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But I apologize for the shortened version. That's on me. We will try to get something out maybe tomorrow or maybe the day of the game or the match or the fixture versus Orlando for a little pregame preview for that, and then maybe a postgame thing to make up for the shorter event today. Stay tuned on my Twitter for updates. Stay tuned on Top Corner Talk Twitter. All those links should be findable. If you got here, you probably can find them. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Appreciate you guys stopping in. We will end the stream, I think, in a bit. But while I'm still going, if you guys have any questions or anything, shoot them. I really am doing whatever until we can get Mo to end it, because some reason my end's acting up a bit. But we're gonna improvise. We're gonna improvise. So remember, St. Louis City SC versus Orlando City SC. Battle of the soccer clubs. Battle of the only SCs in the Major League Soccer. June 25th, Wednesday. That bout starts at 7:30. 7:30 Central. It's in St. Louis. Again, on Wednesday. And then that's Saturday, 7:30. Houston Dynamo versus St. Louis City SC. That's in Houston. It'll be on Apple TV. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoy those games. We'll let you know if we have any watch-alongs or something like that. I mean, I'll be there covering it, so I doubt I'll be able to do something like that. But only time will tell. We'll keep you guys updated. Pardon me. But yeah, we appreciate you guys showing up, listening to me yap for a while. Sorry we had to end it early, but I think whenever I can get Mo's attention, we'll shut this down. and we'll get it going sometime in the future. Get something going. But I appreciate it for sure. A lot of fun stuff we talked about here. But I can't think. All right. Appreciate you guys showing up. Appreciate you guys showing out. I'll be off. Probably need to rest up, maybe drink some tea. By the second away from losing my voice. So we'll do that. And once we can shut it down, we'll shut it down. But for now, we'll stop it. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. And we'll see you soon. You know, I was in my own corner saying to myself, you know, I could go to bed. I could make some tea, maybe some chicken noodle soup, maybe something like that, right? Maybe something like that. But I said, no. I said there's a couple people out there that wanted to see Top Corner talk, so I said, I'm going to keep going. Mo's going to be here at some point, and he's going to take over, and I'm going to leave. I'm the relief pitcher. I'm the starting pitcher that's still going, apparently, after tearing his UCL. Somehow, some way. But I'm still going. So, we're going to keep talking. I'm going to fill some space. This is just off the dome. City SC right now, again, I talked about their playoff percentage going into this game. Currently, 3 wins, 9 losses, 6 draws, 18 games played, 15 points. A 7% chance to make the playoffs. 7% chance. Last time I checked, 7 is more than 0. So City SC still has a chance. So you're telling me there's a chance. Yes, there is still a chance. Is it a good chance? No. No, it's not. It's a horrible chance, actually. It's not great chances at all. I would not, if I was a gambling man, I'm not. But if I was a gambling man, I would not take these chances. These are horrible chances, right? Horrible. But I'm not a gambling man. And I'm not talking about blackjack here. This is soccer. And crazier things have happened. Crazier things have happened than a team turning it around in this late in the season like this. St. Louis City SC. I talked about how they have missed so many big chances. If you are converting just 2, maybe just 1, maybe 3, maybe 4 of these big chances per game, you're talking about a different team. You're talking about a different squad. You're talking about a different kind of morale. You're talking about a different identity. You're talking about a different amount of people showing up. You're talking about Energizer Park being filled to the brim. Chants echoing around the park, not just from the north end, but from everybody. You're a couple chances, a couple plays, a couple situations, a couple kicks, a couple saves, a couple whatevers away from this team being good. Now, who is to say those couple things happen? I don't know. That is something. That's why we watch soccer, right? That's why we watch sports, to see what's going to happen, because no one can predict what's going to happen before. I could say, well, I don't think City's going to win on Wednesday. I don't think they're going to win. I don't think they're going to score 8 goals, but I could be stumped. They could go and score 8 goals because I don't know what's going to happen until it happens. That's the beauty of sports. That's the beauty of the game we all love, is that there's still a chance that something could happen. There's still a chance João Klaus goes out there and scores 3. There's still a chance Marcel Hartel turns back the clock and turns into his August self this time last year. There's still a chance Akil Watts scores. There's still a chance Simon Betcher starts to produce. There's a chance Makai Joyner joins this team and starts to produce the way he's been producing with the next pro team. There's still a chance Jay Reed picks up the slack defensively. There's still a chance Timo Baumgartel stays healthy. There's still a chance Henry Kessler, Rasmus Alm, Joakim Nilsson, Edward Leuven, and Cedric Toyshirt can get back to 100%. And Chris Durkin. There's still a chance Celia Pompeu starts to turn back the clock as well. There's still a chance of these things happening. Because there's still a chance of St. Louis City not only winning this game today, or tonight, or not tonight, actually, I'm tripping. There's still a chance, there's not only a chance of them winning on Wednesday. There's not only a chance of them winning on Saturday, but there's a chance of them winning the next day. And maybe the next game. Maybe the next week. Maybe they lose one in between. Maybe they win 3 more after that. There's still a chance for this team to make the playoffs. And just me a couple minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, down in the dumps, talking about how this team does not look great right now. And that's a lot of people. I think maybe some players in the team feel that way. But pop quiz, how many matches or how many games are in an MLS season? 30 something, 34, 36, 38. People who don't know MLS, maybe 40. I'll tell you, it's not 18. It's not 19. It's not 20. It's not 21 or 22 or 23 or 24 or 25 or 26 or 27 or 28 or 29 or 30 or 31 or 32 or 33. All those numbers I just named are chances for St. Louis to go out there and get 3 points. Those are all chances for them to prove not only me wrong, but a ton of fans. And this is a time, this is one of the only times I'll say, I hope that I'm proved wrong. I hope I look back in 2 months and I look like a dummy saying this. I hope I look back in 2 months and I can say, what was I talking about? I was an imbecile, right? I hope I talk about how Alfredo Morales is playing bad and he goes out there and somehow scores too, right? I don't know. These same things could happen. But I also could look back and say, what was I thinking? Because I was optimistic, right? That's all we can do. As fans, as people, as writers, as analysts, as wannabe podcasters, right? That's all we can do. All you can do is have hope. Because St. Louis sits 14th in the Western Conference. They were on the brink of losing to the worst team in the league. Pardon me. But that doesn't mean it's over. You have 90 minutes to go out there and try to play some good soccer. Tomorrow. Not tomorrow. The next day after that. Wednesday, you have a chance to go and play 90 some odd minutes. And try to walk away with 3 points. And then Saturday, you have the chance to do the same thing. And then the next Saturday after that. And then the next Saturday. And then maybe a Wednesday. And then maybe a next Saturday. Maybe a week off in between. And then the next Saturday, right? This is a time, I think it's almost a tryout for this team. Because if you don't see this team produce, that is grounds for change. If you keep seeing some of Etcher miss these chances, you may not see him get timed next season. If you keep seeing Jay Reed make faults and make horrible decisions defensively, then you might regret not keeping Giannis Horn. Pardon me. But when I look at this roster, there's no Lionel Messi's. There's no amazing finishers. There's no solid defenders. Maybe other than Timo Baumgartel and Henry Kessler, who are both injured. Or, pardon me, that Henry Kessler's injured. But you're looking at a team that has a chance. You're looking at a team that has a chance to prove people wrong. You're looking at a team that has a chance to show the front office and show Lutz Van Steel and show Carolyn Kindle and show Diego Gigliani and show John Hackworth why they should be key contributors in the next coming seasons. We also have a chance to show other teams. I could see a guy like Benjamin Lunt getting a job somewhere as a starter because of the way he performed when Roman Berkey was injured with a broken hand. Because with the way that the MLS plays, this is not the highest level, right? You look at guys, Kevin Sullivan, right? He's like the young hotshot. He's not going to stay in the MLS. He already has a contract lined up with Man City once he turns 18. So this is not a breeding ground for the best players in the world, but it is a breeding ground for diehard fans and diehard players. Players like Tim Parker, who people kind of reached around. He's not going to go play in Europe. He's an MLS journeyman. So people liked about him. And he did his job here. And then he did what he does best, and he traveled. He left. Right? He got traded. So with this team, you have chances to connect not only to each other as teammates, but a chance to connect to the fan base and say, have one moment of stardom, which I think is peculiar because I don't see, when I look at this roster, who's healthy right now and who's going to play on Wednesday. I don't see one player who is had that kind of moment. Maybe Shao Klaus with the hat trick. But like, what I would like, I mean, you think about guys like Indiana Vassilev, fan favorites like Jose Kojima. The amount of players, Selmer Pedro, the first man you signed as a club, didn't pan out. The amount of shortcomings that this front office has had is outstanding. And the fact that we don't talk about it is kind of peculiar in that sense. But we've gone through we're on our 5th head coach now. Our 5th head coach, they've had 2 official head coaches, 2 interims. Or pardon me, 4th head coach. In 3 years. That's not amazing. That's not great. So you need some kind of identity as a team. You need some kind of thing to rally around, right? They talked about City 2.0. City 2.0 did not work under Olaf Milberg. They were actually the worst they've ever been under Olaf Milberg. And then he went and partied in the Bahamas and went back to Sweden. Actually went to Britain, partied with Jack Grealish a little bit more, and then went to Sweden. Bradley Carnell was fired. A little too early, in my opinion, because Philadelphia is now the most talented team in the league under Bradley Carnell. But the way this team is producing talent, the way the fan base has responded to getting rid of that talent, the way this fan base has responded to getting rid of coaches, hiring coaches people didn't like. John Hackworth had a 36% win percentage. 1.3 points per game. That's good. Is it playoff worthy? You're on the brink, right? Is it going to win you the Supporters' Shield? No. But is it better than Olaf Milberg was? Yes. So people were mad that they didn't keep John Hackworth. People were mad they didn't keep Bradley Carnell. And they probably won't keep David Critchley. Just based off track record of them not re-signing the interim coach, right? You try to, I think what this team needs to do right now is get back to the roots. Get back to the roots and say, how is St. Louis soccer played? Say, how do we want to play soccer? And to me, St. Louis soccer is physical. St. Louis soccer is exciting to watch. St. Louis soccer is filled with ups and downs. St. Louis soccer, I'll say it again because it's so important, it's physical. You need physical play, right? You saw it in 2023. João Klaus bodying guys, right? You've seen this. In 2023, you saw the physicality from this team. I don't see it here. I don't see a player who's going to go and get a red card if he needs to go get a red card. Tim Parker was that player. I don't see a player who's going to go score in the 91st minute consistently and win a game. I see a player who scored in the 95th minute who tied a game in João Klaus, who scored a hat trick that match. But I don't see a Jose Kojima. I don't see a Indiana Vassilev. I don't see a Jake Nerwinski. And I might sound crazy when saying Jake Nerwinski is missed, but I think Jake Nerwinski is missed in the locker room. His physicality. Tomas Ostrak has not played a full 90 in almost a calendar year. Like, where do you go from here? This is, I think I've said it before, but a couple of games have been like the turning point, the most important game of the season, right? This is a Wednesday game, afternoon. It's going to be like 100 degrees outside. I doubt there's going to be a lot of people there. Not because, I say that because of the weather and the actual danger of heat wave and heat stroke. But I think it'd be foolish for someone to say that this is the most important game of the season. But if it's foolish to say that, then I'm a fool. Because this is a team that needs an identity. This is a team that needs to decide how they're going to play soccer. This is a team that needs to decide, are they going to contend this year or throw in the towel in June? This is a team that needs to decide if they want to win or lose. And I think the result that we see on Wednesday will tell us just that. It'll tell us a lot about the identity of this team. Their ability to overcome adversity, their physicality, if they show it or lack thereof. I think you'll see a lot about this team based on the result, based on the statistics, based on the eye test, based on the aftermath, based on what the fans think on Wednesday. And I think that's an important thing because you could win every game of the season. Win the Supporters' Shield by a mile, never lose a game, win the MLS Cup. But if your fans didn't like it, if your fans weren't a proponent for some reason, then it wouldn't matter. Because at the end of the day, these players get paid somehow. These players get paid by these teams that get a budget from the league. The league gets money from viewership, jersey sales. Pardon me. They get money from the viewer and from the supporter and from the fans. So I think City has a chance to tap in to what their fans think and what their fans want and what their fans care about and what their fans believe in. Or they have a chance to ignore what the fans want and the fans think and what the fans believe in. And that's another thing you'll see on Wednesday. If the style of play is similar to Olaf Melberg's ball or Olaf Melberg's style of play, the fans are not going to be happy. If the result is similar to the LA Galaxy game, the fans are not going to be happy. Right? So, the way I see it, this is the most important match of the season. Like, this is the most important match of the season. Match number 19. It's not the halfway point. It's not where you make the playoffs, don't make the playoffs, but like, this is a time where you need to show your identity as a squad. This is a time where you need to set a precedent. This is a time where you need to show your fans, show the MLS, show America, show Missouri, show St. Louis, show the world what kind of team you're going to be going forward. Because if that team is a team that wins a ton of games and loses in the playoffs in the first round to your bitter rival, like in 2023, fans are going to like it. If you're a team that fails to make the playoffs year in and year out, 2 years straight if they don't make it this year, fans aren't going to like it. But if you're a team that maybe keeps your fan favorites, if you're a team that still has Nukvi Thorson, Indiana Vasilev, Jose Kojima, Tim Parker, then maybe the fans are a little bit happier because these transfers that were made last season had a great immediate impact. Marcel Hartel, Cedric Toyshirt, Simon Betcher, they had a great immediate impact. But ever since, they've been anything but mediocre or anything but amazing. I think they've been all right. Marcel Hartel, Celio Pump, or not Bernie Celio, Simon Betcher, Cedric Toyshirt, they've all had down years. And this is a time for the team to decide if they want to lean into a younger style. Maybe you go with Mackay Joyner, Caden Glover, Brendan McSorley, Tyson Pierce, Gabriel McKenna, Mateo Kidd even, Seth Antwi with City 2. Or if you want to lean into the foreign roles, the past their prime Germans that you've signed from the Bundesliga 2, right? That's not a shot at them. Very extremely skilled players, but you saw what you got for the summer transfer window. You thought they would keep doing it. They have not kept doing it. So if this team can go out and win against an amazing Eastern Conference team like Orlando City SC, without Edward Lutman, without Henry Kessler, without Conrad Vollum maybe, without Chris Durkin, without Joachim Nilsson, without Rasmus Holm, then that shows a lot about what this team wants to be and what this team can be. But if they go out and lay down, park the bus after 30 minutes, then you see a lot of the same. And I think in a sense that is throwing in the towel for the season. This is a game where you're going to see resilience. You're going to see lack thereof. You're going to see pride in the badge that they wear or lack thereof. you're going to see a win, a draw, or a loss. I could see a loss and still say this team believes because of the way that they lose. If they sit there and die in the last 15 minutes like they have consistently in the last 10 games of this season, then I don't know about the future, right? But if I see a team consistently try to fight back, claw by the skin of their teeth, maybe lose a game or win a game or draw a game like they did against LA, then I maybe see more hope. If I see a team dominate, I see a team go out there and absolutely dominate. Possession, goals, shots, passes, defensive actions. That tells a lot. But only time will tell. Well, we'll see on Wednesday. Pardon me. For now, I'm selling it for about an hour now. Once Mo comes in, I'll talk with him for a bit. But once we're done with that, I'll probably go and probably drink some chicken noodle soup or eat some chicken noodle soup or something like that. My voice is pretty gone. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think Mo should be coming soon. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, I was out for a week at Camp Minnewanka in Western Michigan with the American Youth Foundation at a national leadership conference. Stayed there, no electricity, no internet access for a week. Had a cabin of 7 guys that I was sleeping next to. One of them was sick the whole time almost. You think he got me a little sick maybe? 10-hour bus ride there, 10-hour bus ride back. Met some good friends along the way, some cool people, but we're back. Went to the City 2 game last night. Saw a 3-1 win. Let's go. Watched the NBA Finals. Sucks. Tyrese Halliburton torn Achilles in the most important game of his life. You hate to see it. But with the way that things are going right now, I like it in the NBA. Of course, I would have preferred to see Indiana win. But I think having a new champion in the last 5 years is healthy for the sport. You don't want to see a Tom Brady-esque dynasty, maybe. You like to see competition. But yeah, I didn't see that. I did get to see the NBA Finals finish. I did not get to see the Stanley Cup final at all. I watched the first game, and that was it. And then I had to depart for the week-long hiatus. But that was my PTO. Just joking. We don't get paid here. We do it for fun. It was just time off. But extremely fun time. I'd recommend it to a lot of people. So, pardon me. Next game is for St. Louis. So, again, the home game on Wednesday versus Orlando, 7:30. Then they come back home. Next time they come home is Sunday, July 13th versus Portland. Then they have a 3-match homestand. Saturday, July 26th against Minnesota. The long-awaited friendly between St. Louis City SC and Aston Villa. That's Wednesday, July 30th. Saturday, August 9th is Nashville coming into town. Let me see how many home games they have left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 home matches left. Uh, 16 MLS matches left. 17 matches in general because of the Aston Villa friendly. I'm excited for that. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. Again, Cardinals get the win tonight. 8-2 final. You love to see it. Okay, I think I'm going to log off until Mo comes, and he'll either continue or shut it down. Appreciate you guys coming in. But I am going to, for real this time, check out. Have a good one. Adios. And we'll see what happens. We'll keep you updated for sure.